welcome again guys sa subject natin ng MATH123A, Engineering Data Analysis. So for today, we will be discussing the topic or the lesson about measures of dispersion and skewness. Okay, so at the end of this lecture, this session, these are the things that hopefully we are able to accomplish and we will be able to understand. Yung first is yung to discuss yung formulas of standard deviation and variance for ungroup and group data. Next is yung apply yung shortcut formulas for the calculation of standard deviation, variance for group and ungroup data. Calculate and interpret various measures of dispersion. Okay. Then define the two types of skewness and relate it to the normal distribution. And lastly is to state and apply the formula for skewness. Okay. So let's start. So yung previous topic natin, measures of central tendencies, we are calculating the different averages. So mainly yung mean median mode natin, no? Pero yung values na nakakalculate natin doesn't correlate it dun sa mga given set of data natin. So wala tayong grasp kung gaano siya kalayo o wala tayong relationship na makuha dun sa mga values na yon dun sa set of data natin, no? So now, we will be measuring or getting yung measures of variability using three methods. So as mentioned here, we have three measures of variation. So yung first is yung pag-calculate ng range, next is pag-calculate ng variance, and last is pag-calculate ng standard deviation. Okay? So these measures of variation will be used to describe kung gaano ka-spread out or gaano ka-disperse yung mismong data natin or about calculated mean natin dun sa given set of data natin. Okay? So, it is important to know kung paano nag-spread out or nag-fluctuate yung mismong set of data natin from the given averages that we have already calculated from the previous lectures. No? So, now we will be discussing ito nga, measures of variability. So, let's start with range. Okay, so when we say range, we already calculated this one from the previous lecture. Pero formal definition lang niya is the difference between the highest and lowest value in the set of data. So let's say we have this set of numbers 15, 12, 17, 18, 25, 16, 27, and 22. So what we do usually is to arrange this set of numbers or set of data in increasing or decreasing order. Then once we arrange that, we try to identify which or what number are the lowest and the highest value from the given set. Then we try to extract that numbers and get the difference from the two. So yung difference o yung pag sinubtract natin siya with each other, yun yung tatawag nating range. So pag nakuha natin yung range na yun, malalaman natin kung gaano kalayo yung set of data natin from each other. So from this example, we have 15 as our range. So it is a simple measurement na yung given set of data natin o yung gathered data natin is differed by 15 units with each other basing from the highest and lowest value natin. Okay? Pero knowing that difference or yung parang malaman lang yung range is not enough para ma-consider natin o identify natin kung gaano ka-disperse yung data natin from the calculated averages natin sa mean median mode natin. Kaya ang mahalaga is to measure yung variability natin by the use of variance and standard deviation. So yung dalawa laging magkasama kasi they have a unique relationship with each other. Okay? So let's go to variance and standard deviation. So let's first tackle the formulas involved for solving ungroup data for variance and standard deviation. So we have our first version of the formula. So yung variance natin is given or notated as S squared or so sa other textbook, ang notation niya is sigma, no? Sigma squared. It's the same lang, no? So sigma or S can be used simultaneously, no? or interchangeably. Okay? So yung sabi sa formula niya, we need to identify kung ano yung mean nung set of data natin. So as you can see here, you have your mean here, and then you have to get the difference of that mean dun sa individual set of data natin. So ito yung individual set of data natin. Then once we get the difference between the two, we have to square it, then add it onto the other set values na mag uh, produce nung squared ng difference nung dalawang number. So ano ba ibig sabihin yan? So let's say we have a simpler set of data. So, we have 5, 10, 15, and 20 as our example set of data, no? So, lagay ko lang yung data. Okay? So, when we try to calculate kung ano yung mean nung data natin, so arithmetic mean natin is just the summation of the elements divided by the number of the elements. Okay? So, we have 5 plus 10, 15 plus 15, 30 plus 20 is 50. Then divided by yung n natin, number of data natin is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So we have our mean as 12.5. Now, once we got our mean, we can now calculate the value of our variance. Okay? O yung applying yung formula natin. So, ina-apply yan as summation of nung difference between the set uh, between the data and the mean value, then squaring that number, then taking the summation of those numbers. Okay? So, ang mangyayari, yung first set natin, so 5 minus 12.5, tapos i-square natin, plus yung second set of data natin, 10 minus 12.5 squared, plus yung third, so we have 15 minus 12.5 squared, plus yung fourth natin na 20 minus 12.5 squared. Then, dividing all that number by n minus 1. So for this case, 4 minus 1. And once we get the answer, that is our variance or s squared of the problem. So kapag kinalculate natin, ano makukuha natin dyan? Squared plus 10 minus 12.5 squared plus 15 minus 12.5 squared plus 20 minus 12.5 squared. Okay, so we have 125 over 3. So we have 41.67 as our variance. Okay? Okay? So, kung i-relate natin siya dun sa mga given set of data natin, um, parang lalong lumayo, no? Yung measurement natin from the given set of data. Kasi kung 41.67 yung variance natin, yun yung pagkaka-disperse daw ng bawat set of data natin. Kaya ang ginawa ng mga statistician before, inintroduce nila yung standard deviation. Standard deviation is just the square root of the variance. Kaya makikita nyo doon sa formula, kung s squared ang variance, pag in-squared mo yung s squared, magiging na siyang standard deviation. So, kung sigma, or pag tinignan nyo, pag ni-square root natin to, lalabas yung s dito sa equation, kaya nagkamero ng s, then na-introduce lang yung square root sign dun sa formula natin. Okay? So, yun lang yung um, relationship ng variance and standard deviation natin. So, for our sample problem, pag kinuha natin yung standard deviation is just the square root of the given or the calculated value for the variance. Okay? 41.67. So, we have square root of that number. So, we have 6.455. Okay? So, meaning, ito yung standard deviation natin or how our data, set of data deviates from one another, no? So, kung gaano siya ka-disperse dun sa mga ano natin, given set of data natin. Okay? So, any question for the first version of the formula for variance and standard deviation?
None po.
Okay? So, none. So, now we go to another set of equation, no? Formula. So, ito na second version. May example data pa pala dito. Okay, so let's try to apply to another example. So we have a ungroup data of 7, 10, 14, 19, and 25. So what we need to do is to identify first yung ating mean of the data. Then we will use the table provided to calculate the given standard deviation and variance for the set of data. Okay? So kung papakuha sa atin yung arithmetic mean natin, so it's just the summation of um, set each data natin divided by the number of data. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 data. So 7 plus 10 plus 14, 19, and 25. That's 75 divided by 5. No? We have 15. Okay? Then ito, since ang formula natin kanina ng variance is equals to the summation of x minus bar x squared all over n minus 1, we prepare this table, no? So, ibig sabihin each row will um, will be composed of each set of data. So, we have 7, 10, 14, 19, and 25. Okay? Then, perform lang natin kung ano yung operations involved dun sa bawat column. So, yung second column natin is x minus bar x. So, meaning, yung set of data natin minus dun sa mean natin. So, dito sa first one, so magiging siyang 7 minus 15. So, equals lang sa negative 8. So, pag kinalculate natin each value nung nasa table, so you should have, saan na yan? Okay. So, we have negative 5, negative 1, 4, and 10. Okay? Then yung third column natin is just the same as the second column. Ang kaiba lang, in-square natin yung value. So, naka-square yung buong parenthesis, no? Nasa loob siya ng parenthesis. Buo. So, ibig sabihin, yung negative sign is included dun sa square natin. Kaya, all values on the third column will be positive. Okay? So, negative 8 squared is 64. And we have 25, 1, then 16, and 100. So, kailangan natin sa formula is summation ng squared na yon. So, we need to get the summation. So, we have 65, 25, 90, then 106, 206. Okay? We have 206 as our summation. Then, applying that on our given formula. Okay? So, summation is 206. Then, ang number natin, n is 5 minus 1. So, ilan yan? 206 over 4 is 51.5.
51.5.
So, yan yung variance natin. Okay? Then, para kunin natin yung standard deviation, we get the square root ng variance natin. So, yung standard deviation natin is 7.176. Okay? So, question about the first version of the formula. So, direct laman siya, no?
Sir, excuse po.
Yes.
Paano po ulit nakuha yung 64, 25, 160? Naghihina lang po yung
Alin? Yung 64?
yung ano po.
Ito.
Opo, 25. Opo yung core.
Itong bali itong second column natin, nakita natin to may mga values tayo to. I-squared mo lang yan. So, negative 8 squared. So, lagay ko dito ha. Negative 8 squared ay equals sa 64. So, negative 5 squared. No?
Thank you po, sir.
Okay? So, ni-square lang natin yung second column, ibig sabihin, no? Okay? Thank you for that question. And any other clarification? Okay? Okay na tayo dito para sa first version. Okay? Next, we proceed dun sa second version ng formula. So, nagkakameron ng second version kasi depende sa preference nung nagsosolve, no? Kung saan siya mas mapapadali. Like, nung first version natin, kinakalculate natin yung mean nung data natin, no? So, by using yung mean natin, kinakalculate natin yung variance sa standard deviation. For the second version of the formula, we are not using the mean of the data, but we are using the summation of the squared of the set, no? Kaya yung formula natin, n multiplied by the summation x squared minus the summation x, no? So please indicate that in your formula. So when you try to, okay, summation formula. Uh, so wait nga lang, may call lang ako. Wait for a while. Okay? So going back, sorry. Saan tayo? Okay, yung sa second version ng variance natin, ng standard deviation formula. So you have to indicate dapat summation of x squared yun. So anong difference ng dalawa? Yung first na term natin dito, ano, summation x squared. So ibig sabihin, yung x squared natin, sinamation natin, yung x in squared natin, tapos tsaka natin sinam. Yung kaibahan nito, summation lang siya ng x, tapos tsaka mo siya i-squared. So later may meron tayong um, example regarding this one. Okay? So let's look at the example. So meron tayong 7, 10, 40, 19, and 25, no, as x and x squared. So kailangan natin doon sa formula is n summation of x squared minus summation of x squared all over n times n minus 1. Okay? Kaya dalawang column lang yung gagamitin natin. And each row for each column, each row is for each set of data. So 10, 14, 19, and 25. Then ang gagawin natin is squared lang natin yung x value na to, yung mga set data natin. So we have 49, 100, then pag 14, ilan pag 14? So we have 196, then 361, then 625. Okay? Then we get the summation of each column. So yung summation x na to, ito yan. Ito yung uh, wait lang. May ano lang sa admin kasi. Yun. So, yung first column natin, ito yan. Sa second term ng formula natin. Then, itong summation of x squared, ito yan. No? So, yun yung kaibahan ng dalawa. So, pag kinuha natin yung sum ng first column, ang sum natin is 75. Then, yung second column, ang sum natin is 1331. Okay? So, once we arrive with the summation of each column, pwede na natin substitute sa given equation natin. So, ang n natin is still 5. Then 1331 minus 75 tapos tsaka siya i-squared sa labas, no? Then we have 5 times 5 minus 1. Okay? So dapat yung makukuha nating value is the same as the first one na nakuha natin kanina, no? So 5 times 4. So value natin is 51.5, which I guess is the same as the first version ng formula, no? Let's check. Yan, 51.5 din. Okay? Then, para kunin sa standard deviation, we just get the square root of 51.5, which of course be equals to dun sa same value na nakuha natin from the previous version of the formula, which is 7.176. Okay? So, yan po yung second version ng formula natin. Okay? Question para sa second version ng formula? Question, clarification? Okay
None
naman?
po.
Okay?
Okay po.
So, yan. So, it sa exam, usually kasi ako, pag ako nagsasolve, always 3 decimal places or 2 decimal. Kaya ang ginagawa ko doon sa exams nyo, although may scores na lumabas doon sa exam nyo, di ba? Nire-revisit ko each answer nyo para i-check kung yung pagkaka-round off nyo ng value is malapit dun sa actual na answer, no? So, meron mga nagra-round off ng 1 digit lang, 2 digits, 3 digits. Pero sa engineering kasi in my experience, always 2 to 3 yung decimal places ng pag-round off. Okay? Question from Mr. Pelobello kasi yan. Okay? So, when solving problems, try to round it off in 2 or 3 decimal places, no? Para mas ano siya. Kasi sa books kasi, usually ganun din yung ginagamit nilang formulas, no? Yung solution. Okay? Any more question? Okay? Now ito yung para sa ungrouped data. Now we will go to group data. Okay? So sa group data, almost the same lang din ang formula. The difference is meron lang tayong multiplier na f, no? Yung first version natin, wala tayong multiplier na f o no, yung frequency, no? So ngayon, meron tayong frequency na multiplier dun sa equation natin. So same lang, no? So paano natin ngayon nahanapin yung x natin tsaka yung f natin. So balikan natin yung given natin for group data nung last time na yung mga travelers natin na may mga classes tayong na-identify, no? So ito yung data na yon. So pag group data, ma-identify natin yung x as the midpoint ng mga classes natin, okay? So ibig sabihin, pag inag-add natin yung lower limit and upper limit natin, divide natin by 2, yun yung x natin, no? So ito yung 18 plus 27 divide by 2. So ibig sabihin yun yung midpoint natin. Okay? So baka hindi lang natatandaan kung ano yung midpoint natin. Then, since our equation is based from the summation nitong last column natin, we need to perform tong mga additional columns natin dun sa previous na-prepare na natin dun sa mga problem natin. Okay? So, dito sa fifth column, x minus bar x. So, before na-identify na-calculate na natin ang midpoint, ang mean natin is 55.5. So, gagawin lang natin dito is 22.5 minus 55.5 is equals yan sa ilan? Negative.
33.
Okay, so we have
33.
negative 33. Then performing that on the other numbers or rows, we have 13, negative 3, 7, 17, and 27. Okay? Next is to square yung values na yan. Katulad ng ginawa natin kanina. So, ibig sabihin, negative 33 squared equals yan sa 1,089. So, ito magiging 529, 169, 949. Then we have 289 and 729. Okay? Then yung last column natin is just the multiplication of this column and yung F natin. No? Yung frequency natin. So, ibig sabihin, para doon sa first row, we need 2 times 1089. So, equals yan sa 2,178.
178.
178.
So, ito, 1058. So, 845. Then, 99, 735, 867, and 1458. Okay? So, alam niyo naman na pwede kayong gumamit ng Excel, no, para um, to make yung calculation faster, no? Kaya yung paglalagay ko ng values, mabilis din, no? Then you need to summation tong values na to, no? Pag sinamation natin tong columns na to, the summation will be 7,240. Okay? Then, applying our formula for variance and standard deviation. So, yun yung mga values na calculated natin from the previous slide. So, sigma squared is equal to summation of f times x minus x bar x squared. So, we have 7,240 minus 40 minus 1. So, standard deviation natin, ay variance natin rather, is equals to 185.641.
5.641.
Okay? Then, of course, our standard deviation is again just the square root of our variance. So, value natin will be 13.625. Okay? Okay? Clear tayo dun sa first version para sa group data.
Here po.
Yes po.
Okay? So, if we have the first version, meron din tayong second version. No? So, again, same formula siya nung sa ungroup data. Ang difference is multiply natin ng frequency. Okay? So, may present ng frequency dito. No? So, ibig sabihin nito, may summation din to dito. Okay? Pero kagandahan sa second version, we don't need to add yung mean natin na mina-minus natin dun sa midpoint natin. No? So, yung table natin is mas lesser yung columns natin. No? Ay makita nyo, pwede natin siya ma-solve in 5 columns lang. Unlike the other number, we are using 7 columns para ma-solve siya. So ngayon, basta alam mo kung paano identify yung midpoint, yung x, no? Then yung fx naman is just a multiplication of these two table. So, itong fx squared, mangyayari sa kanya, itong fx mo, multiply mo lang ulit ng x. No? So, mangyari sa kanya is 45 times mo ng 22.5, no? Equals yan sa, uh, okay? So, 1,012.5. Then, doing that to all the rows, so 2,112.5, 9,031.25, 3,318.75, 58,593.75, 15,768.75. Then we have 13,612.5. Then taking the summation of each column, yung last column natin is 130,450 ang summation. Okay? So once na nakakuha natin yung summations na yan, we proceed dun sa formula natin. Okay? So again, meron tong summation na mark. So substitute lang natin. Sa variance natin, we have 40 times 13,450 minus 2220 squared all over n natin, then 40 minus 1. Okay? So, variance natin is equals to 40,130,450 minus 222 squared lower 40 times 40 minus 1. Value natin is 185.641, which I think is the same as the previous version. No? So, definitely yung um, standard deviation natin will be the same as the first version, which is equivalent to 13.625. Okay? Question para sa second version.
Sir, pwede po pabalik dun sa kaninang slide.
Okay, dito. Okay. So, kita nyo, hindi nyo na kailangan kunin yung mean. Kung halimbawa, ang sa problem, binigay lang is yung yung frequency lang. Ang binigay lang sa problem, itong dalawang table lang na to. Tapos pinapahanap lang naman is standard deviation. So, para mas mapadali yung solution mo, mas magandang i-apply mo is yung second version of the formula for group data para makuha mo agad yung standard deviation mo, no? So, hindi mo na kailangan kunin pa yung mean mo like in the first version. Then kailangan mo pa siyang i-less or subtract dun sa lahat ng midpoint ng each classes mo. Okay. Sir, fx squared,
Sir,
hindi na po i-x squared. Okay, so dito,
yun
ito,
po.
ito, di ba sabi ko multiply lang itong to tsaka ito. So, ibig sabihin, fx times mo ng x, di ba equals yan sa fx squared. Kaya pinag-multiply ko na lang yung dalawang table na yan. Okay? Kasi di ba ibig sabihin nito ay f times x times x. Okay? Kaya ang pinag-multiply lang is itong fourth column and third column. So, ito yon, ito yung value na yon, ito yung value na to. Okay? Okay na tayo dito? Okay. So, sa group data, unique tayo kasi meron tayong another version ng formula. Although, I would not consider it as a shortcut formula kasi kita nyo naman, iba yung form niya, no? Pero magagamit mo kasi itong formula na to kapag ang ginamit mong formula for the mean, kasi di ba yung mean natin before, kung matatandaan nyo, yung calculation natin ng mean, meron tayong dalawang formula ng pagkuha ng mean. Yung isa is yung pagkuha ng by conventional way ng pagkuha ng mean natin kapag group data. Yung other one is using deviation method, no? So pag deviation method yung ginamit mong mean, dito mo magagamit yung solution or formula for variance and standard deviation. Okay? So, 'di ba, napansin nyo dito, meron tayong D. So, di ba itong D na to from our previous discussion last 2 weeks o last 3 weeks ago, ito yung kapag nagsaselect tayo ng mean class. So, nag-assume tayo ng mean class, then nalagay natin 0 yung sa tapat noon, tapos mayroong -1, -2, 1, 2 sa ilalim niya. Okay? So, sige, apply natin sa formula para ma-refresh yung ano nyo, no? So, let's say for example, same data tayo, pero ngayon, 'di ba pag mag-assume tayo ng um, mean class natin. So, ang mean class natin dito assume dito is yung second class. So, kaya dito na nilagay yung 0 ng deviation. Then, yung mga lower class sa kanya, ina-identify lang natin yung distance niya mula dun sa row na yon. Tapos yung distance niya mula dun sa row na yon. So, pwede magkaiba-iba kayo ng assumed mean. So, pwedeng ang gawin ng isa, ito ang gawin yung assumed mean. No? So, yung distance ng mga row, ito yung higher class, lower, no? -5. Tapos, i-performan niya yung same na operations ng table. The final answer for the standard deviation and the variance should be the same. No? Okay? Pero since meron tayong given dito na na selected na mean, so ito yung sinelect niyang mean, no? Itong column na to. So, lagay ko dito. Ito yung assumed mean class niya. Okay? Kaya nandun yung 0 natin. Then FD, so multiply lang natin yung F times D na table. Kaya nakuha tong fourth table natin. Okay? Then yung last is FD squared. So naka-squared ulit yung D. So FD times po ng D. Okay? So iba yan dun sa itsura ng tinatanong nyo kapag nakaganyan. Okay? Kasi ang ibig sabihin nitong picture na to, itong row na to, yung i-squared mo. Itong ano naman to, yung D lang yung naka-squared. Kaya, minumultiply lang natin yung FD na value sa D. Okay? Para clear lang tayo na ito din yung same dun sa isa na kinlarify nyo kanina, no? So now we perform. So FD, -2 times -1. So we have 2. Nito
2.
0, 5, 44. Then ito is 135. Then ito is 48. Then we have 50. Okay? Then we just perform yung summation yan. Ang summation natin yan would be 284. Okay? So once we have that, yan, ito ulit yung formula natin. So paano natin ano nga itong C natin? So nakakatanda ko ano ibig sabihin ng C.
Class mark.
Class
Uh,
interval po.
Sa
class
interval.
interval. Mas kilala siya as class interval. Na nakakalculate siya sa difference nung mga lower limit ng isang class minus yung preceding lower limit ng isang class. So let's say for example, itong selected class natin minus yung preceding niya. So C natin is 68 minus 58. So equals siya sa 10. So pwede din higher upper limit, no? So 77 minus 67 is equals to 10. So doon natin nakukuha yung class interval natin. Okay? Ibig sabihin dito sa formula na to, yung C natin is 10 squared, no? Then multiplied by yung value ng n na 40. Then calculated na summation of FD squared. So we have 284. Okay? Minus FD tapos i-squared natin. So again, this should be summation. Okay? So 92 squared all over 40 times 40 minus 1. Okay? Then yung variance natin will be equals to should be equals to the same number that we have calculated earlier, no? So check lang natin kung makukuha natin value. So nakuha kong value is 185.641, which is the same, no? So of course, our standard deviation will be 13.625 also. Okay? So, question regarding the third version. Again, any version for each type of data, group or ungroup, may be used, no? Depende um, sa given or depende sa preference na nagsosolve. As long as yung notations will be followed correctly. Okay? So kung mali yung na multiply yung number or yung na substitute yung value for each variable, so definitely your answer would be wrong. Pero with respect dun sa selection kung alin ang formula na gagamitin nyo for variance and standard deviation, wala pong problema kahit ano yung gamitin niyo. Okay? So question regarding this formula. Question.
Sir, saan nga po nanggaling yung 10?
Then dito sa yung lower limit ng mga class natin. So halimbawa mag-select ka ng isang class, any class, tapos yung lower limit niya minus mo dun sa lower limit ng preceding na class. Yung mas mababang class. So halimbawa itong ang tinuha natin example, itong class na to, ang lower limit niya is 68. Tapos ang preceding o yung mas mababa sa kanyang class is itong class na to. Tapos ang lower limit niya is 58. So 68, lower limit nung current class mo minus yung preceding class, 58, is equals to 10. So yun yung class interval natin. Yun ay
Thank you po, sir.
kapag ang given na problem sa inyo is ganito na agad, no? Nakatabular na agad siya. Pero iba yung usapan kapag halimbawa ang given na data sa inyo is ano lang, yung raw data mismo na katulad nung sa activity 1 natin na kayo yung nag-calculate nung value ng class interval using yung Sturgis, yung formula ng Sturgis, no? Para ma-identify yung class interval. Okay? So, kung okay na tayo dito sa standard deviation and variance, so yung measure of variability natin, we will now go to skewness, no? So, ano ba yung skewness? So, it is another statistical measure, no? Aside from dispersion tsaka yung sa central tendency. Ang ginagawa niya, mini-measure natin yung degree ng symmetry or departure from symmetry of a set of data, no? So, kung gaano siya kalayo. So, a skewed distribution is similar to the shape of a normal distribution curve, no? Except that it is not symmetrical. So, ano ba itsura ng normal distribution curve? So, di ba, normal distribution curve natin is bell curve na ganyan, no? So, ginagawa natin, ito yung center natin, yung left and right natin is, although hindi siya 100% similar, is mirror image siya ng left and right. Pag skewed distribution pinag-uusapan natin, your distribution has two types, no? So meron tayong distribution na positively skewed tsaka negatively skewed. So ibig sabihin, merong mas longer yung tail ng left kumpara mo dun sa right, no? Then meron naman tayong mas mahaba yung tail dun sa left compared dun sa right. Yung mas mahaba yung sa right compared dun sa left. So ano yung difference ng dalawa? So we will be discussing that to the succeeding slide. So, if yung mean and median and yung mode daw natin are all equal, wala daw tayong skewness na nangyayari, no? So, ibig sabihin, symmetrical yung distribution natin. So, ibig sabihin, normal distribution tayo, no? Normal distribution tayo. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, equal lahat yung value niya, no? So, x curly, tsaka x hat ay equal. Okay? Then positive skewness naman daw siya kapag yung mean natin is larger dun sa mode natin and median natin. So, ibig sabihin, um, halimbawa, ito yung data natin, ito yung mean natin, no? Then, yung ano natin, halimbawa ito yung median, then ah, ito yung mode natin. So, nangyayari is ganyan yung ano natin. No? Okay? Positively skewed, so skewed to the right siya. No? So, pag yung sa ano naman, minang smallest naman doon sa tatlo, so dito ang condition dito is yung bar x natin is greater than dun sa curly bar natin and yung bar x natin is also greater than dun sa hat x natin. Okay? Sa mode natin. Ito naman sa kabila, ang condition natin is yung bar x natin is less than dun sa curly bracket, dun sa media natin. Yung bar x natin is also less than dun sa mode natin, dun sa x hat natin. Okay? So, nangyayari naman yan kung halimbawa ito yung mean natin. Then, so baka mali itong diagram ko dito, no? So, mamaya, meron akong pinipare na diagram dito sa kabila. So, basta ang condition niya ito. Ito yung mahalagang condition niya, no? Okay? Tingnan natin sa next slide, yung condition. Yan. Again, pag equal, normal curve siya, symmetrical distribution. Okay? Then, pag negatively skewed, ayan, skewed to the left siya. So, mas mahaba yung tail sa left, no? The curve has a longer left tail. So, makikita nyo yung mean natin is less than dun sa median and mode natin, no? Then, yung positively skewed is the curve has longer right. Okay? Right tail. So, ayan. Yung mean median mode natin, yun pala. Mas greater yung value ng mean dun sa mode and median. So, mali yung nga yung drawing ko kanina, no? Okay? So, ganito yung itsura niya. And then, yan. Yung degree of skewness. So, malalaman daw natin yung um, kung positively skewed o negatively skewed siya by calculating the coefficient of skewness natin. Denoted by SK na ang formula niya is 3 times yung mean natin minus yung median natin all over yung standard deviation natin. Okay? So, basically, kita nyo dito, lagi siyang kino-compare ay sa ano lang, sa median lang, no? Mean and median lang yung kino-compare, no? So, using yung dalawang averages na yon sa mean and median natin, multiply natin yung kunin natin yung difference niya, then multiply natin by 3, then divided by the standard deviation, we will have the degree of skewness natin, which is usually ranging from negative 3 to 3 yung value, no? So kapag negative yung value na lumabas kapag calculation ng SK, ibig sabihin negatively skewed agad siya. Tapos kapag positive yung value, ibig sabihin positively skewed. Okay? So without even graphing, you can identify as long as you know you have the right value of the mean and the median at saka yung standard deviation. Okay? So let's have an example. So yung age distribution natin before or about may given age distribution na ang mean is 41.83, ang median is 43.23, and meron siyang skewness, standard deviation of 14.32. So, calculating yung degree of skewness natin equals to 3 times bar x minus curly bar all over s. So, substituting the values from the given example, 43.23 all over 14.32. We have the coefficient of skewness as 83 minus 43.23, 14.32 as negative 0.293. Okay? So yung degree of skewness natin is on a negative side. So meaning yung data natin o yung given set of data natin is negatively skewed distribution. Okay? So sabihin mas longer yung tail dun sa left side. Okay? So sa original na given, hindi to kasama tong figure na to, no? So hindi ko lang inalis para alam niyo yung itsura nung uh, diagram natin ng negatively skewed or um, skewed to the left, no? Okay? Question. Dito sa first example for skewness. Okay? Malinaw
Wala po.
naman. Okay? So, next, another example. Meron daw tayo, researcher director of a large oil company conducted a study of consumer buying habits with respect to the amount of gasoline purchased at self-service pumps. See, the arithmetic mean was 11.5 gallons and the median amount was 11.95 gallons. The standard deviation of the sample was 4.5 gallons. Is the distribution negatively skewed, positively skewed, or symmetrical? And lastly, what is the coefficient of skewness? Okay, so first thing is to identify all the given. So arithmetic mean daw natin is 11.5. Ang median amount natin is 11.95 and yung standard deviation natin is 4.5. Okay? We can now calculate yung coefficient of skewness natin as 3 x bar minus curly bar divide s. So we have 3 times 11.5 minus 11.95 divided by S natin is 4.5. So, based pa lang doon sa pag-write ng equation, alam natin na mas greater than yung median number natin. So, definitely magiging negative yung final answer natin para sa coefficient of skewness natin. So, kung naging negative siya, so ito is negative 0.3, no? So, ibig sabihin, siya ay negatively skewed. Then, yung coefficient of skewness na calculated natin ay negative 0.3. Kaya makikita nyo dito sa ano niya, there's a distribution of slight negative skewness. Okay? So, slight negative skewness kasi hindi naman masyadong nagaano yung tail na, no? Like dito, mas mataas yung ano niya. Okay? Okay? Okay ba tayo sa skewness? So, even without the graph, you can easily identify kung what type of skewness siya as long as you know how to substitute yung value dun sa equation. And kapag naging negative, again, automatic the distribution will be negatively skewed distribution. Then kapag positive yung value, the equation will be positively skewed. So kapag halimbawa naging 0 yung value ng SK, meaning nag-equal yung value ng mean and median natin, automatically, ang ating distribution na pinag-uusapan is a symmetrical or normal distribution curve. Okay? Question. Hello?
Yan po.
Okay?
Wala po.
If you don't have any more question, this ends our lecture for today.